Good evening, America. Welcome to the show. Tonight, we're going to talk about some fraud that is going on in the United States of America. There's a young kid who has exposed a tremendous amount of it, just basically by being an independent journalist and doing the job that the mainstream media is supposed to be doing. And they are not. In fact, when this young gentleman exposed the fraud, they kind of attacked him for it, which is not shocking or surprising in the slightest. So it started in Minnesota with some daycare workers that were receiving millions of dollars in taxpayer money. And this young kid by the name of Nick Shirley went ahead and investigated it thoroughly and put the kibosh on it. He was called before the Senate hearing today. We got some clips of that. We're going to go over that. As always, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. You can call into the show 561-786-2916. Do not go anywhere. We're going to have a great show. It's going to be awesome. Grab your popcorn. I hope you're sitting on your couch watching this on YouTube or Rumble. We got a lot of people piling in. It's going to be a good night tonight. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back. We are here. We are live. And like I said earlier, we're going to have a great show. I'm excited for this one. This is what America is all about. This is what the First Amendment to the Constitution is all about, is freedom of the press, which is a freedom of the individual, not a corporation. The individual right to investigate and report on your findings. That's what the First Amendment to the Constitution is all about, and you're seeing it in real time with this kid, Nick Shirley. He went before the Senate committee today. He testified. He did a great job, especially for somebody his age and a whole lot of pressure. But we got to first understand who this kid is. He's just a normal kid, conservative podcaster who I believe he lives in Minnesota. And he noticed in Minnesota that there's a whole bunch of Somali daycares in Minnesota. But the funny thing about the Somali daycares that were around is they didn't have any kids, or very few, or minor kids. So he started poking around and looking into it. And he was totally attacked, totally investigated by the left. They called him everything under the name of the book. And it turns out he was 100% right, true, and accurate. Just watch this clip of this gentleman calling him a racist. I don't know how he's a racist, because he is investigating what happened, like where all this money is going. He's a racist. Let's listen to this video.
Yes, sir.
Why are you sensationalizing the propaganda?
What are we sensationalizing?
To attack our community. What's your final objective?
We're not attacking your community by any means.
Are you making
we're
good money
looking
from this?
We're looking for fraud.
No,
For instance, can you answer our question? Where's Safari Transportation Company 607? It's not there. And why don't you answer?
How much money are
why don't you answer the question? Where's 617 Dreamline Security?
How much money are you making?
I make money off of YouTube. That's how I make my money.
Exactly. So you're making money off of sensationalizing.
That my job
and attacking
is
the Somali community.
I'm not attacking you guys. We're asking.
I'll tell you the
fraud is
reason why
fraud,
this is
sir.
happening. All right, let me
David,
tell you the reason why
fraud
you're
is
attacking
fraud,
this.
correct?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with race. This is fraud.
This
fraud.
absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being from Africa. This is a constitutional argument. If you don't want us here, change the freedom of religion. Say, listen, we don't want Muslims in this country anymore.
We're not saying that.
No.
We're not saying that.
When I go
Sir,
onto
we're
your
talking
comments,
about fraud. When
I go onto your comments,
my comments.
what I see is people that say we do not want Muslims here. Kick every single Muslim in Minnesota out of Minnesota.
That's a comment.
You are. Listen.
So this is what happens anytime anybody on the right calls out somebody on the left for, be it fraud or trying to hold them accountable for their actions. It doesn't matter. The go-to is that you're racist. You're violating my rights. I have rights. You think I don't have rights. You think that I should not exist. These are the words and the terms that always come up. I mean, but this is it. This is their defense. His defense is not, hey, listen, there is no fraud here, dude. What are you talking about? You're being foolish. Here's the evidence, and have an actual legitimate argument with him. But the left cannot have legitimate arguments. All they can do is yell, scream, and accuse you of being a racist. That's all that they can do.
Listen, you're preparing for the Somali community to maybe be taken to concentration camps, just like the Japanese community. All right, you're sensationalizing.
No, we're not.
All right,
Sir,
something that
answer
can
the question. Where is the transportation vehicle company?
Jeopardize
answer the question.
The safety and the protection of the Somali community.
We're talking about fraud.
If anything happens to the Somali community,
we're talking about fraud.
Listen, I'm not doing anything. I'm not physically touching.
You're getting very close.
I'm not physically touching. No, I'm not physically touching.
This is fraud. We're talking about fraud.
What you're doing.
You're defending fraud. You're
when I go into your comments,
you're defending fraud.
People who hate Muslims want us out of here.
People can say
for
what they
being
want.
Muslim,
I'm not censoring anybody.
Are using your material. Islamophobes use your material. People who hate Islam use your material. Say to us, we don't want you here. Change the Constitution. But guess what? Let me tell you something. Guess what?
Say it. We're asking about fraud.
We're
asking about fraud.
You hate Muslims.
I'm not saying I hate Muslims. We're talking about fraud. We're talking about fraud.
Why are you attacking us?
This
are we
is
the
fraud.
only community that suffers because of fraud?
We're talking about fraud.
Are we the only community that does fraud? Are we the only community that does this?
This is about fraud.
All right, but there's what, 300 Somali providers in all of Minnesota?
There's actually 800.
Don't keep talking. Don't go
so,
do you speak English? Your security doesn't even speak English. Listen, let me tell you something.
See, this isn't a race issue, sir. This is about fraud.
Your security doesn't even speak English. That's right, because I'm not a racist. My security is full of brown people. Because I don't really care about the color of their skin. I care if they can protect me. But this is what you get if you expose it. I mean, I deal with this every day. This isn't about me, but I do deal with this every day. Every conservative podcaster deals with this every day. And, you know, this is just the result of calling out what's actually happening. And that's all Nick is doing. That's the crazy thing, is that he actually found just legitimate issues that need to be answered.
And how come you guys are the daycare that receives them?
So here is Nick Shirley. This is him in New York. Okay, so he kind of became famous with Minnesota. This is him in Flushing, Queens, where there is an adult daycare where they take care of your senior people. They receive federal funding or state funding, and it turns out that there's apparently documented 7,900 members, and the employee is saying that we don't have 7,000, and they're charging $1,600 per patient. Like, let's just watch this clip, because what he's doing is a great job. He's doing great work. He's investigating as a journalist. They're answering his questions, and you know, there's really nothing wrong with what he's doing. I don't think that there's anything wrong with proper investigative journalism.
And how come you guys are the daycare that receives the most amount of money here in Flushing, Queens?
We have a lot of members.
How many members do you guys have?
I don't have to tell you.
Because here it says you guys have 7,899.
Where did you get this information?
Oh, it's actually from the public databases of CMS and HHS.
Do I have to tell you the number?
But this place doesn't look like it can hold 7,000 people.
Can I have an ID or something? You're asking me some about.
Well, this is public information because it's public tax dollars that you guys are receiving.
I don't have to tell you, right?
Yeah, but do you guys have 7,000 members, for instance?
No, we don't have 7,000 members.
Okay, well, that's what it says. You have 7,899 in 2024, and then so that's not true.
7,000.
Yeah. So you guys are you guys overbilling then? Because you guys are getting paid per patient $1,600, and that's how you guys got $12.9 million in 2024.
I don't know how they calculate. But I don't remember all the numbers.
But did you have 7,000? I think you'd remember if you had.
No, I don't. We don't have 7,000 members.
So, how come you guys billed for 7,000 people then?
Do I have to tell you?
Well, you like $12.9 million on 7,000 patients, and you say there's not 7,000 patients. Are you committing fraud? Like, are these numbers wrong?
Please, sir.
$12.9 million. That's a lot of money.
Leave.
12.9 million. All right, we will leave. You could have just answered the questions. Now,
I said I don't want to.
Now people are going to be wondering if you committed fraud.
I don't want to, but why you keep asking me? I said I don't want to tell you the information.
Well,
and why?
These are taxpayer dollars, so.
So what? So I don't have to tell you the.
We're sick of people defrauding our taxes. This guy received $12.9 million, and right here it says they had 7,899 patients. And how?
He's doing good investigative journalism work. And I mean, I don't know what these people are doing sitting there talking to him. If you're committing fraud, man, don't sit there and talk to the guy. Just say, I don't know what you're talking about. Get out of here.
My name is Nick. We're coming through.
But here he is again. This is him in New York City. I'm not sure where in New York City. And it's the same thing. This is the elderly people daycare.
My name's Nick. We're coming through. We just been over at Sunrise Senior Daycare, and we've been going to a few of the daycares around here, trying to look for the best one possible for our grandma Debbie.
Will you look? Because I'm busy right now. So will you do the service for the adult daycare? Or?
No. We're looking for a good one for our grandma potentially.
But I think we don't accept a new member, right?
No members? Why not?
Yes, because we have enough. Yes.
How many do you guys have? It says you guys have 8,000 patients here.
No.
Around 8,000.
No, who say that?
Look how shocked she is. No, we don't have 8,000 patients.
HHS? Yeah, we're looking for potential places for our grandma that aren't fraudulent.
If you're looking for your
because this comes from the public HHS Medicaid provider spending data set.
We don't have that one.
But $9.4 million.
Sorry. Okay.
Do you guys have 8,000 patients?
No.
No. Did you guys bill for 8,000 patients in 2024?
No, that's too much. No.
Yeah, it is a lot, right? $9.4 million.
It's just crazy.
So somebody's billing, like this is what he's bringing is actual public documents. And obviously these look like employees and they really don't know what's going on. Now, we don't have that many patients, but somebody along the line, an owner or somebody is fraudulently using the business in order to get more taxpayer money. Millions of dollars in taxpayer money. This is why taxation shouldn't be as widespread and rampant as it is, because at a certain point when the government is collecting too much money, they don't know what to do with it. And accountability goes down.
Receive money from Medicaid?
No. What are you talking about?
No, so this is all self-funded by the
We're doing
elders?
the inspection right now for the insurance company. So if you have any questions, you have the right.
And then they get kicked out.
Yes, the governor of California.
He's doing good work. He's gotten a lot of fame. He's going after, he took out the Somali whole daycare system, completely exposed it. That's what kind of put him on the map. Then he went to New York City and he went after the adult daycare people who were doing the same thing. It's a system that's easy to defraud. You know, when Doge came out, the Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk, and we saw what USA Aid was doing and all of the corruption and fraud that was happening within our own government, where we had people that were on Social Security that were 130 years old. It would be super simple to fix, but the government doesn't want to fix these things, it appears. So he is now going after Gavin Newsom in California. Here is Nick Shirley on Fox News talking about it. Now, Gavin Newsom is currently under investigation by the Department of Justice. That investigation had started under Joe Biden. It did not start under Donald Trump. This is not some political retribution as Gavin Newsom would like, as much as Gavin Newsom would like to portray it that way. That's not happening. His wife is under serious investigation for committing actual fraud, and she may be in a lot of trouble.
Yes, the governor of California is an enemy to the people of California. He's literally working to support the fraudsters. Meanwhile, he could be working to expose the fraud. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to say, okay, let's go after the guy who's exposing the fraud. Let's not go after the fraudsters. That is what he's doing, what he's actively doing each and every single day when he makes out these statements, and all he does is blame the people who are showing the fraud. Why doesn't he say, hey, Nick, great video. How can we help?
Right. That's what I would say. Wow, great video. How did you find this? Where did you go, and where are you going next so we can find somebody to go with you? Don't you think that would be a common response?
Exactly, because these tax dollars don't say right or left on them. They don't say Republican or Democrat.
Right.
Each tax dollar is $1 for the American people. And when they go in and steal these dollars from us, they're not robbing just the liberal Democrat in California. They're robbing everyone. Yeah. And then the governor gets mad at the person for exposing the fraud. How crazy do you have to be to think with that logic?
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a bitch who is celebrating God, family, country, and the success column of working hard, playing hard Americans. He's a conservative blogger who would love you to subscribe and visit his website. It's ryanfsamuels.com. ryanfsamuels.com. A promotion for this Facebook page and a subscription to his blog is what I'm here to do. Because if he's contacted me, he's probably rock solid in the asset column, and you ought to join him at Ryan, R-Y-A-N-F, like in Fatuma, Samuels.com, RyanFSamuels.com. Uncle Ted reporting for duty. It's going to be the greatest hunting season of my life because I work hard and I play hard and I hunt hard and I live a hard American dream. It's perfect. Godspeed, Ryan. Live it up. RyanFSamuels.com. I'm going to go there and visit. Sounds like my kind of campfire.
Well, if they're attacking the one that exposes it, it makes you wonder about their own guilt.
Now let's go to another one.
He's got a bunch of great videos. We're going to watch some of them. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to all of them, but this has been going on forever. You know, Medicaid fraud, daycare fraud, VPK fraud, people fudging the numbers. We saw this during the pandemic. We saw inflated numbers at hospitals, potentially in an effort to get more money. There were some reports of that had come out because the more people that were diagnosed equaled more funding from the federal government, because the idea is if that is more people getting diagnosed, then they need more money to treat the illnesses and get more respirators or all of these things. So the more people got diagnosed, the more funding the hospital got, which will inevitably result in just more diagnoses, regardless of their actual illness. He also is going after voter fraud. Let's watch this video. This is interesting.
She's 100 years old and she voted last election from here.
Can you see my? I said I want.
I just want to make sure you're not 126 years old.
No, I'm not.
And do you think it's possible like illegal migrants could be voting?
Not really.
Do you know where the ballots might have gone? Like for 108 people, that were registered here?
When it comes to fraud, most people think about money. However, there's another potential massive fraud story taking place in America, one tied to the most consequential system in our country, which is our voting system. This has to do with everything about who runs the country and how elections are actually controlled. And if we don't have voter integrity, what even are we? And there's one state that is the breeding ground for potential voting fraud, and that is California.
This is where him and Gavin Newsom, I guess, got into it on Twitter. I did a whole show on California and its voting system and how it is the opportunity for fraud is out there, right? That's just, there is no voter ID in California. You can vote with a gym membership card. Like, that's an actual thing. And to get a gym membership card, you don't necessarily need an ID. So there is widespread opportunity for fraud in California, and the Save America Act is something that's going to help prevent and stop this from occurring and get rid of that opportunity. Now, nobody knows if there's serious and deep fraud going on, because the way the system is, it's almost impossible to even find out, which is an indicator as to why maybe they don't want to change it.
Where it can take up to 1 month to count all of the votes, no voter ID, and millions of ballots are cast by mail. And with voter rolls that are extremely vulnerable to errors, such as over 200 people who are over the age of 125 years old registered to vote in certain areas. And now, to see how easy it is to vote, I headed to the location to register to vote inside the state of California. Now, this is the register of voters right here. And I want to ask him, why don't you need voter ID to vote here inside of California? I was curious, how come in California you don't need voter ID to vote?
Because when you sign your affidavit, you're swearing that you're telling us the truth, and we compare the signature that you put on your application to the
battery 65%.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it leaves any room for error with voter ID, or? Yeah, I'm just curious because I want to make sure that our elections are as fair and honest as possible, and I feel like voter ID is just something super simple to have. And do you think it's possible illegal migrants could be voting?
Not really. How? I mean, what's showing their ID?
Yeah, if they don't have their ID and they could just sign on behalf of Richard Sherman.
Or on behalf of anybody. They could just sign on behalf of anybody. Now, listen, I'm all about having everybody have access to vote and make it easy and as simple as possible without fear of repercussion for who you voted for. But there definitely has to be some sort of system that ensures it's safe and secure. And this is obviously, he's not talking to the cream of the crop down there at the office. He's talking to the lady at the front desk who doesn't really know much about the system, who probably, I'm assuming, was just born and raised in California. That's always how it's been. That's the way that they just have always done things. And she's confused. Well, what do you mean? No, you swear. You promised us that this was you. That's good enough. They promised us on a piece of paper that they would not do that. I wonder if you could buy a firearm the same way in California.
Then they could technically vote, right? Yeah, but what if they just don't?
Yeah, duh. So for those of you who didn't hear that, right? Let me see if I could just rewind it just a tad bit. Yeah. What it says at the bottom there. I said, but couldn't just an illegal immigrant come in here and vote? She said, yeah, but they would be lying. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, people don't. Are you saying people do not lie? People don't commit crimes? People aren't unethical? People just always do the right thing by the right people 100% of the time? Is that's your statement?
Yeah, but what if they just don't care? What if like Richard Sherman and Billy Bob Joe just don't care? But so you don't think illegals would ever vote, would you?
I don't think so.
No.
So instead of showing your ID, you sign your signature and then it is scanned to verify it is you. So technically speaking, anyone could show up saying they are someone, and if the signature is similar, that vote will then count. And with millions of people voting, it leaves room for fraud to occur. Just take these two examples.
A Southern California woman is facing 5 felonies after registering her dog to vote in 2 elections. The dog's vote was even counted in one of those elections. Those behind the stunt say she did it to show the flaws of the current system.
Hundreds of people who cast votes according.
She got her dog to vote, and they passed her dog voting. So this is a 2-step process this lady did. She registered her dog to vote. Then after the registration, she actually went to the polls and voted. Her dog didn't go up there and vote. She voted on behalf of her dog. And now they're charging her with 5 felonies, not because she voter fraud, but because she exposed the vulnerability of the system. They can't have that. Because if you stopped it, the Democrats would just cease to get elected.
Of state records, but we found they've been dead for years, including a woman who died in 1988, and records show she somehow voted in 2014, 26 years after she passed away. Then there's Julita Abutin. Records show she voted in Norwalk in 2014, 2012, 2010, and 2008. The only problem is she's buried here at Forest Lawn. Abutin died in 2006.
These are the things that all of these independent journalists or all of these people should be doing. This is what CNN should be doing, Fox News, CNBC, 60 Minutes, Dateline, MSNBC. These are what these people are supposed to be doing. But they're not doing anything near that. They're just continuing to be propaganda. Here's Nick Shirley on Fox News talking about the adult daycares.
Daycares, they're just basically these YMCAs essentially for these old people to go in and play ping pong, do Tai Chi, and play dominoes. And because there's so many of them, what they do is they've created a referral program pretty much. So you bring in your friend, we'll give you a kickback on that. You come to the daycare that day so we can bill Medicaid. Well, we'll give you a percentage of that money from Medicaid. And so they are able to give out these kickbacks to the elderly for attending these daycares. And then more and more people get wind of it and they tell their friends, and then there's just a big old referral program and people getting kickbacks from Medicaid.
Yeah, Nick, I want to.
Yeah, so these adult daycares.
So Nick Shirley.
Give you a rough idea how many people
about it right now. For one,
I think he's doing it.
First witness.
Here is Rand Paul. At the Senate hearing today. I think this is the video. I just want to make sure.
Our first witness will be Nick Shirley. He is an independent journalist known for his on-the-ground investigations, which he publishes on his social media pages and the Anti-Fraud Club website. Mr. Shirley.
My name is Nick Shirley. I'm a 100% independent journalist who seeks each day to serve we the people of the United States with the mission to show the world the reality of things as they really are. America was built and created by strong men and women who loved America and never would have thought to rob, steal, or cheat from its very own citizens. Unfortunately, today, America's good faith has been abused by others, often foreigners who seek to harm, rob, and cheat America. Through my efforts, I've exposed billions of dollars of fraud and helped save America hundreds of billions for years to come. When we talk about fraud, we are talking about money that is being stolen from hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. This issue has nothing to do with political parties. No dollar says Republican or a Democrat on it. When a fraudster commits fraud, he or she steals from all of us. Last December, I published a 43-minute-long video exposing widespread fraud in Minnesota. That video became one of the most viewed videos in internet history and gained over 4 billion views in just 7 days across all forms of media. The fraud was so obvious that the fraudsters weren't even trying to hide it. The infamous Quality Leering Center was born, and that video has become one of the most consequential videos in American history by the amount of legislation it has created. Since posting it, over 30 bills have been created and introduced in Congress regarding fraud. A new fraud task force has been created, and the Treasury is working on new systems to stop fraud at unprecedented levels. I helped ignite a war on fraud across the country. People often wonder how come this fraud became so big and how come it became so rampant? And the reason is because no one actually ever really looked into it. When Elon Musk offered to help by creating Doge, people burned his factories, bombed his cars, and politicians even celebrated his company's stock going down. Elon was right when he said the fraudsters complained the loudest. By exposing the fraud, I actually also exposed the politicians and media who worked for years to cover it up. Governor Tim Walz labeled my work as white supremacy and called me a far-right delusional conspiracy theorist. Meanwhile, he dropped out of re-election, and he even said he has ended his political career. Now, the highest government-funded daycare in Minnesota has pleaded guilty to daycare fraud, and the largest autism bust in American history has been exposed. Where is Tim Walz in the media now? It just so happens that over 80% of the fraud committed in Minnesota is by the Somali population. After Minnesota, I exposed widespread fraud in California within the daycare and hospice community, where an impossible 1/3 of Americans on hospice care were set to die in Los Angeles. The next day, the governor, Gavin Newsom, posted an AI-generated image of myself trying to mock and discredit my work. Only days later, he and his attorney general both tried to take credit for exposing the fraud. Now the attorney general's wife has created a bill that would make it criminal to expose fraud. The Stop Nick Shirley Act, also known as AB 2624, will help fraudsters cover up their crimes and prevent themselves from being exposed, specifically in immigrant communities. Politicians often use immigrant communities to commit fraud. Why would they allow this to happen? In California, Medi-Cal, their Medicaid program, has now more than doubled from $108 billion in 2022 to a proposed $222 billion, while enrollment has only rose by less than 1%. The system is filled with bad actors and fraudsters. In New York City, government-funded adult daycares pay for elderly Koreans and Chinese to play ping pong and do tai chi at the taxpayer's expense. An impossible number of patients are registered, and those patients receive kickbacks for attending and signing up their friends. Over $2 billion has gone to these fraudsters at the taxpayer's expense.
Keep in mind that what he's saying is not like delusional. It's not made up. A significant amount of it is true. Like 99%, right? According to multiple sources. He has nothing to gain by exposing all of this, right? Yeah, so his video got views and he became a viral sensation. That's awesome, right? But he already gained that. So moving forward, there's really nothing to gain. He doesn't need to go before the committee and talk about the governor of California and all of these people. He's got nothing to gain by doing that. He's already made his fame.
And I'm just one person doing the work of many people. If the government and media is not going to do their job to help America, it's the responsibility of strong men and women, however old they may be, to do it. I am doing it. Despite the threats and burdens that come, it must be done. I'm doing it with the help of everyday Americans that government-paid officials are supposed to do. And the media teams across the country have millions of dollars to do this, yet they don't look into this fraud. They've actually quite literally failed us. If we as Americans do not stand up to protect our country, we will lose our country. Fraud is so rampant in the United States, I could go to all 50 states and uncover millions of dollars of tax dollars being defrauded, wasted, and abused. It is my wish while sitting in front of you guys today that you take action and help Americans by cracking down on all of the fraud. and to simply put Americans first. Thank you.
Not a bad opening statement.
Mr. Shirley, I just want to start.
I think he did a good job. That was just
what made you want to get into.
Again, he's got nothing to gain from this. He's already gained everything that he could gain. Could he gain a little bit more, get a little bit notoriety? Yes. But the risk really outweighs the reward. If his findings weren't true, I mean, what is he going to say now? I mean, but he's done such a good job at exposing it and documenting it that this is why it was so viral, because it was so obvious. I mean, you show up to a daycare and there's no kids there. And that's not just one. They're not out on a field trip. It's multiple. And it's billions of dollars. And then he causes Tim Walz to resign and not run for re-election? Are the Democrats using this to fund their campaigns and fund themselves? Is this why people like Nancy Pelosi go into Congress making a couple $100,000 a year and come out worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Just a question. I don't know. But it makes you think. And why is it so easy to defraud the government? Is it because the government just doesn't care? Is it because the government is that inefficient? I think that's most likely, or one of the higher likelies. Or do they know when they're looking the other way because they're using it to fund themselves?
Our first witness,
Mr. Shirley.
Here is a clip that Josh Hawley posted. Senator Hawley.
Really, I just want to start with you. I, for my part, want to say thank you for the terrific work you've done on exposing fraud all across the country, nowhere more so than in the state of Minnesota. You know, it's a funny thing. Not long ago, the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota was sitting right where you're sitting, Keith Ellison. And I had a question or two for him about the fraud in that state. And he said to me that, I mean, nobody could have found it. I mean, he didn't know anything about it. You know, he was completely in the dark until it was all blown open, and there's just nothing that would have tipped him off. I find that interesting because, near as I can tell, I mean, you were a 24-year-old independent journalist. You had a camera and a list of public spending records, right?
Correct.
So if this fraud was so hard to find, how did you manage to find it when none of the public officials in Minnesota could find it?
I simply went to the locations of the Learning Centers and the daycares and asked to.
He's calling it Learning Centers because there was a photo of the Learning Center where they forgot to put an N at the bottom of the sign, in the middle of the sign. So it was a Learning Center. So he calls them the Learning Centers.
To enroll a child. And there was no way to enroll a child into any of these daycares. In fact, there were no children to be seen anywhere.
That means something's going on.
To this, what was the inspiration?
That means something
fraud, abuse, and
is going on.
Correct. I mean,
here is Senator Ron Johnson and Nick Shirley.
Correct. I mean, $700 million in cash flowing out of the Minneapolis airport back to, countries in Africa. Have either of you gentlemen kind of investigated the foreign sourcing or an organization of a lot of this fraud? I mean, we're opening up to foreign governments to fund their own operations.
Well, yeah, it's been proven that a lot of the money in suitcases that left Minnesota went back into the hands of people inside Somalia. And for instance, in New York City, where I just did an expose exposing this adult daycare fraud, nobody at these daycares actually knows who the owner is. A lot of them had just been hired within the past month. It's in Miami, you have the Cuban government running these DME companies that are fleecing and quite literally looting from Medicaid. A lot of foreign governments have infiltrated our Medicaid because it's so simple and so easy to defraud.
By the way, we know it's $700 million because government watched it go out. They let it go. They didn't even put the IRS on the case. It's truly remarkable what we're allowing to happen here. So again, Mr. Chairman, I commend you, like Senator Ernst did, for holding this hearing, and Ashley Moody. This is an incredibly important hearing, and it speaks volumes that only the ranking member showed up to denigrate Mr. Shirley's efforts. Quite honestly, that was why he showed up, and not one of them are here talking about these hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars worth of fraud.
They're not talking about it because that would be devastating to their case and their political party. But Nick Shirley has done some great work. He's now has a lot of funding to continue to do more work, and that's good. Good for him. I'm glad he made it as a caster. I think he deserves it for the things that he exposed. And I'm curious as to how he even found it. How would he even put 2 and 2 together? Did he just see hey, listen, none of these people have any money? Of course, he got a lot of criticism. Why wouldn't he get criticism? Right? He's 24. He's young. Sure, he's got some intimidation. This is Ron Johnson. Senator Ron Johnson defended independent journalist Nick Shirley after criticism of his reporting, saying Shirley's investigations have helped bring greater attention to alleged fraud. I want to be as cool as this guy. Or my shades inside.
Corruption are real, and they are pernicious, and we must waste. Fraud, abuse, and corruption are real, and they are pernicious, and we must do something about them. The only way we're going to solve them is by some of the reforms and others that I have laid out here today, but we're not going to solve them by focusing on sensationalistic anecdotes, clout-chasing viral internet videos, or provocative pseudo-documentaries. We're also not going to solve these problems by demonizing and scapegoating specific communities and constituencies based on partisan, political, and ideological agendas. Thank you again for inviting me here to testify today, and I look forward to your questions.
We're going to begin a round of questions, and I'm going to defer my time to Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we've had in testimony and opening statements a couple jabs, I guess, at Nick Shirley's videos. The only reason that we're taking fraud seriously is because of that independent journalism sitting in front of us. The fact that he exposed in all its gory detail how grotesque and how blatant this fraud is, how rampant it is.
Don't wear your sunglasses because you're going to look like a fool.
Mr. Shirley, I just want to start.
Our first witness will.
If the Democrats are willing to do this, right? If they're willing to cover it up or pretend it doesn't happen, forget that maybe they're involved, right? They may be, we don't know. Or they could just be protecting their vote. This is their voter base. The illegal immigrants are their voter base. The people committing this type of fraud are their voter base. They're their voters. Maybe they're their funders. Maybe it's they're inadvertently protecting them to protect their own seats. Because if they go after their own voters for stealing and help put them in jail, then they're not going to get reelected again. So they just don't want to touch it. First, they're going to deny that it exists, which we saw. And then hopefully they're going to resign, like we saw with Tim Walz. So this is another one with Nick Shirley looking at fraud in California, but this is an apartment complex.
Now let's go to another one that's even more concerning as kids are left all alone.
Now we're at the Jama Shukri Family Childcare. This place is not a shopping plaza. It's not anywhere near any place that looks like a place where a daycare would be. In fact, it's actually in one of these apartments right here. So they're able to have daycares inside apartment buildings?
Yes. So I've come across many of these. Some of these are on the third story of an apartment complex. It's only one bedroom, and yet the capacity is for 8 kids.
We just arrived at the daycare. We have 2 kids out here. I don't know if they're members of the daycare. There's no oversight right here. Can we talk to your teacher? Is your teacher there? So this is the first child we've ever encountered at one of these daycares. There's 2 kids out here right now, and we're gonna see if we can talk to the
licensee. It is, according to this paperwork, Shukri Jama.
Can we talk to the adult?
He is not here.
Not here?
Yeah.
So you guys all by yourself?
Yeah. Not gonna
No one's here. Okay, so you guys are all by yourself.
Okay. I can see by myself.
Yeah, okay, that's concerning.
No one's watching those children, and they're all by themselves.
My heart is breaking right now. I can't. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and what makes you so emotional as a mother, seeing that those kids are just out by themselves?
Seeing the kids all by themselves. It's supposed to be a licensed daycare, and there's no adult anywhere. What is going on?
And the crazy thing is, California allocates $6 billion to childcare and daycare facilities just like these, and there are over 39,000 facilities in the state.
You show up, it's in an apartment complex.
You see here, you think of that?
It's obvious to me, and it's obvious that they caught it. But what I want to know is who the culprit is. I know we found people. I know that a lot of people are going to be in trouble for this because it's finally been exposed. But I want to know who's behind the people that are behind the scheme that don't even know who the owner is. That's what I want to know. I want to know who they are. I want to know what they do. I want their social security numbers, and I want them to go to jail. It's not unreasonable. At least not in my book. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. We're going to cut it a little short tonight for no real reason, honestly. I think we just covered everything. You should check out Nick Shirley's stuff. Just Google him. He's everywhere. Follow him on YouTube. Follow this show. Go to the website. Go to ryanfsamuels.com. Sign up for the blog, right? It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Just give me your email address. The only thing you're going to get is updates about the show. One day they could just come in and take everything I have away from me. And from you. They could take me away from you. I know we have tens of thousands of people that listen every day in their car. And we have other thousands of people that watch every night on the live show between all platforms. So it's important that if there's some sort of collaboration where they take me away, that you could be able to find me, or I could be able to find you and let you know where to watch. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe everywhere. X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. I'm also on TikTok. So thanks for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow night. God bless you. God bless our troops. God bless the United States of America. Good night.